Kyle, you're a week away from the season starting. I know it's been a long off season for you. Excited to be playing not only another team, but Sam Houston State here next Sunday?
Absolutely. The stakes are high, and playing the first college football game and getting to play that a week early is really cool feeling. And like you said, getting to see a different defense other than our own defense. We're all excited to just see another team and kind of take it to them.
You've gotten all the way through preseason camp. Do you feel like you're at full strength with the offense, your players, yourself, health-wise?
Yeah, it's coming along. It's definitely a process, and we've made strides since the beginning of camp. Now we're transitioning into game week where we're going to start reviewing their defense and doing scout team and those types of things to simulate the looks that we're probably going to see in the game. So it's a little bit different, but I think it's coming along really nicely.
For anybody, I mean, how does it feel now that it is game week? I mean, this is your media day, but for us, it's also your game week press conference. I mean, things kind of feel like it's getting real. Whoever wants to jump on it. Well, I take that.
Definitely. I think for the older guys, it's kind of almost like a relief because you spend the entire offseason for less than 20 games a year, and when you finally get through camp and you're finally kind of coming out of that, shaking off all the rust that might have built up and finally being able to kind of put the pads back on and hit somebody a little bit, at least from my perspective. It's definitely a big relief and really a rush of excitement for me. No matter how many years I've been here, it's always a good feeling to come out of camp and be ready to hit somebody else other than my own teammates because I like them. So definitely excited for the first game, and it's always a good feeling to finish camp, and especially on a high note because I think we had a really strong camp.
Coach told us a couple of weeks ago when camp started, and Kyle also, you guys wanted Sam Houston State, number 3 in the country, bright lights, ESPNU. I mean, is that an accurate statement? Do you feel, as the defensive representative here, the same way? You want to step right into the fire right away?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've had mostly big, exciting game openers. So, I mean, last year with UVA, and historically we always get a good opener. And I think this year it's a chance for us to really kind of assert ourselves in the FCS, and definitely playing such a high caliber team as we are. It just coming out with a win will really put us on the right track where we'll need to be going. And so, I mean, I don't really care who we're playing. I just get excited to play. But definitely the all of the context, the game, the Sunday, the type of team we're playing, it all kind of builds up and adds to the excitement for me. And I know for the rest of the defense as well.
This could be for everybody. Just your thoughts on having to play on the road and the benefit of having this first game away from home as opposed to maybe the distractions of having the first game.
I think the majority of our games are on the road this year, so getting a big road game like this kind of knocked out of the way early will kind of help prepare us for some of those tough road games later on in the season.
Garrett, when you look at the offense as it stands now, I mean, there's weapons across the board, tight end, wide receiver, and running back. How potent can you guys be when everything is clicking, especially you're going to need to be that on the road at Sam Houston State?
Very.
Yeah, the defense can attest to that. I think it seems like every day at practice there's a different guy who steps up and will have 5 or 6 big catches or big runs, and Kyle does a great job spreading the ball around, getting everybody involved, and it's going to be hard to guard everybody when we have so many weapons.
Brandon, from your perspective, what is it like to go up against this offense, and what would you tell opposing defenses, if you even can right now?
It's difficult. They come out with a ton of formations, and for defense, one of our biggest advantages is to be able to recognize formations in order to anticipate certain types of plays or certain types of reads that they may take, anything like that. So we're always trying to take more information and then be able to apply that. And when you come out with endless formations, endless just possibilities, it makes it really difficult to game plan that. And so I think it'll be a huge advantage for the offense. And that's just to complement the fact that we have really talented guys like Kyle and Garrett and the rest of the offensive group. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Last year in the playoffs, JMU obliterated them. Obviously, you guys know JMU pretty well. Have you studied that tape at all? I know they're kind of similar this year versus last year. That was 65-7. Is that blueprint something you guys can use on Sunday?
I think we can use a lot of that. I think most of us have seen that tape, and that's the great thing about football is you can't really take that game and say, that we can, we're going to do the same thing, or obviously we're going to strive to perform like they did. But I think there were a lot of factors, going against Sam Houston. I think it was a really cold game, and JMU kind of jumped on them early, and it just seemed like they really had their way all game. But definitely good tape to watch. I think they exploited the defense well and kind of put pressure on them the whole game. So, we'll definitely look to do similar things that they did. And, it's a new team, though. Last year they had a lot of different guys, and we have different guys last year, and we have new guys this year. So, you never know what you're going to see. We had a new defensive coordinator for Sam Houston as well. So, you just kind of got to be ready for everything, especially in that first game. So, we'll be prepared as best we can. But like you mentioned, that's definitely a good game to look at and a good game to study.
This one for anyone who wants to answer. You guys are familiar with the big stage, and you played James Madison 2 years ago with College Game Day in tow. What do you guys do to keep the blinders on when there's going to be a lot of talk over this week, whether it's nationally or here locally, on this matchup and how important it could be later on in the season?
I think that this group's done a really good job of that and staying focused. Since my time here, I think we've always risen to the occasion and performed really well in big games. And this is something that we've been waiting for a long time, especially me coming off an injury. It's been a while since I've seen another team. So, just all these off-season workouts we've had, all this preparation, everything's leading to this. So, I think you'll see both teams very focused. And I don't even think distractions, I don't think it'll be an issue. It's never been an issue. And we're both focused, and both teams want the same thing. All we want to do is win. So we're going to do everything we can to put ourselves in a position to do so.
Kyle, you mentioned it briefly about getting to see another team's uniform for the first time since last November. How have you been managing to keep your emotions even keel with what's on the line Sunday?
Well, I think my coaches and my teammates keep me grounded, and I'm very excited. But I think that it's important going out in the first game just to be calm. Things are going to go wrong. You're not going to complete every pass. You're not going to catch every ball. Defense isn't going to stop them every series. But the team that can kind of sustain excellent play and we'll have a great game plan, and we just got to stick to it. And something happens here or there, kind of like when we played JMU at College Game Day, we were trailing a lot of that game. It was neck and neck, but we just kind of stuck with it. And we don't know how the game's going to turn out, but just trusting in each other and trusting the coaches and just kind of giving a full effort for all 60 minutes.
Brandon, do you feel like you guys have something to prove? New coaching staff, maybe some doubters out there nationally. Obviously, you guys are 7th in the country, so there's plenty of belief in you guys. But do you think maybe you guys got to show that the Spiders aren't going to miss a beat this year? Yeah,
I think if you don't play with a chip on your shoulder, for whatever the reason may be, you might be at some type of disadvantage. For me personally, I know the defense feels like we've got something to prove because new defense, new coaching staff. We have to show that it's all working and that the chemistry's still there, that we're still a humble defense that just comes out, does our job every day, doesn't really have any issues. We're just consistent and the offense can rely on us. And because we're here to complement them and to complement special teams. So I know the defense as a whole really feels that way. I know the offense always feels that way because they've had a new system like every single year. This is our first time dealing with that. So I think things have gone really well so far, but I definitely think that the whole team, the defense, the offense, special teams, even the coaching staff feels like there's something to prove because this is all kind of uncharted waters for this specific group. So there's definitely a lot of that, and just being able to kind of know that even if this specific group hasn't been here before, we've all been in this situation before. We all know how to handle ourselves. We all have our own routines and things like that. And I think that's one way that you're able to kind of stay focused and keep your eyes on the prize.
you touched on, you said it was uncharted territory for you guys defensively to work with a new philosophy. When did you get to that point where it kind of clicked like, okay, we're getting it, as opposed to, like you said, years past, you get on the field, you kind of know what you're supposed to do?
Sure. So we had a lot of momentum with this new group coming in because a lot of the guys were really excited about the scheme. And so with that momentum, it was much less of an issue of getting guys bought in. And it was much more of an issue of just having guys learn the system and then be able to apply those techniques that the coaches wanted us to have. So I think things started to kind of get together and pieces started to come together during spring ball. And then probably over the last 2 weeks, I think things have really started to click. You can always kind of tell when the defense is running on full cylinders because guys are kind of a little more relaxed. Guys are joking with one another and they're not as stressed about, oh my gosh, what am I doing in this situation on this certain play, in this certain type of context, anything like that. So when you start to see guys be themselves again on the field, I think that's really where the signs of growth and of that kind of meshing together show. And I think I've seen that in the past few weeks.
What about for you guys offensively? Because this is not uncharted territory for you guys, but it's much faster, I'm assuming, than in years past. So how were you able to kind of grasp this scheme as opposed to previous schemes?
Yeah, we've always been a pro-style offense before this, so switching to the spread. One of the things is the no huddle. So Coach Brinks had us in the summer just working on our conditioning, working on our cardio, making sure we were able to play fast. And then a lot of the concepts are a lot different. I know my coach is the offensive coordinator, so I hear a lot about what everyone's doing, not just what the tight ends are doing. And some of the reads that the quarterbacks have to make or the stuff the O-line has to see and call out and communicate is a lot different than what we've done in the past. But I think as spring ball went along and as camp's gone along, we've adjusted, and it seems second nature now. It seems like it's what we've been doing for our whole careers.
What about you, Kyle? I mean, last year you got a lot more on the plate to kind of work with, so how different is it this year?
It's a lot different, but I think it comes down to just really trusting in your coaches and taking their coaching and trying to apply it as best you can. I've been in the system the past few years that I've been very familiar with, and something I know really, really well, but this is something I haven't known quite as well. So, just listening to the coaches. I mean, they've done this, and they've been Coach Durden's been very successful running this type of offense. So, just listening to him, and he's very knowledgeable, and he knows a lot about all the positions, obviously. So, that's what I would say is just kind of embracing the coaching change and just listen to them as best we can. And I definitely think it's come together nicely. I think when we're out here in practice, just running different plays, I think we've competed, but I think the defense has almost had the upper hand. And then a couple times in the scrimmage when the bullets are flying and we're able to kind of put it into a game situation, it kind of comes together. So I think the scrimmages, I've been really pleased with the offense and how they've looked. And even though we have one more week, we can still learn and keep getting better and keep refining our skills so that we're ready for next Sunday.
Carl, there's no replacing Brian Brown, and you have a ton of receivers to work with, including Garrett, this upcoming season. But I want to ask specifically about Tyler Wilkins. He was the number 2 last year. In what ways has he stepped up to maybe take over that primary receiver role, and how does he give you comfort when you're stepping back knowing he's going to get the ball?
He's done a great job. He's an excellent route runner, and he has great hands. He's very hard to guard in space. And that's one of the things that we'll try to take advantage of, not just him, but kind of everywhere on the field. But the defense knows, the defensive backs will tell you, guarding him man-to-man or in space when he's on a linebacker is very, very difficult. So, we'll take advantage of our matchups when we get one, and he definitely adds a ton of value to our team. He can go over the top, he can work inside. He finds the windows really well, and he's a great finisher. He catches the ball really well, and someone we're definitely looking to have a big season for us.